Hello knitters, welcome back to Rena Knits. This week we're going to be making a small stuffed spider. They could have googly eyes or black eyes, your choice. But these are great mini projects that can be done with a group of friends, that can be done with your kids, that can be done during seasonal times like Halloween and fall, but it can be done anytime just for fun, to do with kids, to keep them busy, or just to decorate your house any way you like. Enjoy making those little spiders.
To create the spider, what we're going to do is cast on 10 stitches. So once you've cast on 10 stitches, what you're going to then do is knit row 1. You're going to basically add an additional 10 stitches, so you'll have 20 stitches by the end. The way you're going to add a stitch is by knitting front and back. So knit, and then you knit the back, and there's your one extra. And you're going to do the same on every stitch. Knit from the front, knit from the back, and then go that. And then the next one, knit from the front and knit from the back. And you're going to keep doing this till the end of your row. So that now you should have 20 stitches after you did knit front and back on each stitch. So now for the next 15 rows, what you're going to do is the stockinette pattern. So row 1 will be all knit, row 2 all purl, and you would keep doing that. So all odd number rows are going to be knits, all even number rows are going to be purls, and you will do this for 15 rows. Once you have knit the 15 rows of the stockinette pattern, what you're going to then do is increase the number of stitches by another 10 stitches. So in total you would have 30 stitches. Right now you have 20. So what you're going to do is knit 1 and then do a knit front and back. Then knit 1, do a knit front and back on every other stitch to get an extra 10 stitches for a total of 30 stitches. And then you're going to do another 9 rows of the stockinette pattern. So your first stitch would be a knit, and then you're going to do knit from the front and knit from the back on the same stitch to increase by 1, and then your next stitch will be a knit. So every other stitch you're going to increase by 1 stitch by doing a KFB and then the knit. So after you've done that for this row, then you're going to do is the stockinette pattern for 9 rows. Once you have knit your 9 rows of the stockinette pattern, what you will now start doing is decreasing. So we will begin your next row by decreasing 10 stitches. So you would knit 1, then you would knit 2 together, and you would knit 1 again, and you would knit 2 together, and you will continue this pattern of decrease till the end of the row. So by the time this row is completed, you should have a total of 20 stitches. Your wrong side row, or once you've did the decrease, your next row will be all purl. So after your 9 rows using the stockinette pattern, you did 1 decrease, so you got down to 20 stitches. Then your wrong side row was all purl, and here you will do another decrease, and you will come down to 10 stitches. And what you're going to do is basically K2 together all the way through the whole row. So you're going to knit 2 together
to decrease. So that way then you come down to 10 stitches. Once you've decreased down to your 10 stitches, what you're going to do is cut about 12 inches of yarn. You want enough to do the sewing to make the spider. So we're just going to cut about 12 inches of yarn. Once you've created that body, what you now want to do is create the legs. So the 8 legs. So you will need 4 pipe cleaners. So 1 pipe cleaner would represent 2 legs. And what we're going to do is create an I-cord around it. So we're going to take double pointed needles and we're going to cast on 3 stitches. Then we're going to take our pipe cleaner and hold it in the back like this. So after you've cast on 3, let's do the first row, which is just basically knitting. But now, as we rotate it this way, we're going to do this. We're going to put the pipe cleaner in the back and hold on to it with your forefinger and then keep knitting. Now, in order to understand how to create an I-cord, you could watch the video I have posted on I-cords. And what you're going to do is make sure this goes around the pipe cleaner and then make it go this way. Initially, it's going to be a little tricky, but afterward it gets easier as more of it is behind the yarn that you're wrapping around. And again, you're going to take this, loop it around the pipe cleaner and take it to the other side. And you're going to continue doing this. So you're going to do this for all 4 of your pipe cleaners. So therefore you have your 8 legs. And loop around. So as you keep doing this, the tubular portion is going to keep going around the pipe cleaner. So then at the end, you're going to have something like this. And because it's bendy, it's not going to be too loose and it'll be perfect fit. So this is what you're going to want to end up with at the end. And you're going to create 4 of these. To complete the spider, what we're going to do is take the body that we had knit. We're going to take the extra yarn, put a nail through it so that we could start sewing it together. And we're going to just take these stitches through the needle. And what we're going to do is fold this in half, and then you want to stitch all the way across this, but leave the bottom open because we're going to use some stuffing and add that to our spider. So we're going to tighten this and then and what you want to do is go through each stitch, so that way, 1, there's no holes, and secondly, it's more complete. The stuffing won't come out either. and leave the bottom open so that way we could stuff it. You don't need to cut the extra string you'll have remaining, because after we stuff it, we'll need the string again to finish off closing off the spider. So here I have stuffed my little spider's body with a lot of stuffing, and then now what I'm going to do is close this off. So I'm going to finish closing off my spider, and then if I have extra yarn left over, I'm not going to cut it because I need to go back in to sew the legs. So I'm going to go back. Once I finish this, I'm going to take my yarn back to here because I have 4. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 locations where I'm going to sew the legs. Here I just weaved my yarn back in to the locations. So there's going to be 4 of these getting attached. So I'm going to show you the first one, and then we could do the remainder 3. So you want it to be kind of like centralized on the length, and then you just take the yarn and you make it go through. So I know there's going to be a pipe cleaner in between, so you want to kind of like wrap it around, kind of. So put it in place, so to speak. And then we're going to go through this way. And I'm going to put it like this. So this is at the bottom, so it doesn't show up too much. Just make sure it tightens it. There we go. So something like that, and then we could do it a few more times so that it stays in place. And you would pretty much do the same thing for the remaining 3. So that way then it's locked into place. And even then, if you have extra yarn, you could do is just weave it through to the next location. So this is how it locks into place, and then because it's a pipe cleaner, you could basically play with how you want your feet to be. And these ends, you could take a crochet hook, and you could weave this through. So you could weave these through the yarn, like so, and then cut the extra. Once you finish attaching all 4 of the legs at the bottom, you could make your eyes either by stitching yarn or by putting googly eyes, but this would be how your spider would look like. If you like this video, don't forget to click that like button, and if you're new, welcome. Don't forget to click that subscribe button to get the latest videos on knitting projects, knitting ideas, knitting patterns, and much more. Relax, enjoy, and keep knitting.